Now that we've got our model into our scene, I'm going to show you some of these options that we have here. Again, these are sculpt brushes. In order to use these, we need to subdivide our model. So firstly, what I'll do is I'll actually show you the paint tool options. Just to get used to the interface, basically these are layers. If I right click, you can create a new layer for the sculpt option, and you can create a new layer for the paint option, and you can blend these in if you want to. The curve tools here is to actually if you're retopologizing your model, you can do that, and you can select curves as well, so you can draw onto your model. We're not going to be using that as well as pose tool. If you have your character model, you can repose them in different ways, so we're not going to be looking at these, and we're not going to be looking at these as well. This is actually to modify your topology. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick with paint and sculpt tool options, because that's what we're going to be most likely doing. Up here we've got there's some good shortcuts that is good to get used to, like for instance, we're going to be subdividing our model later on, so you add new subdivision levels. So if you press shift D, that will take it up, and depending on your machine, you have limitations on how much times you can subdivide. Usually level 6, level 7 is the highest that you can go up to before the computer says no. So again, once you've subdivided, you can come down to level 1 or level 0 by just pressing page down and page up. So for now, because this is an introduction tutorial, we'll leave that for now, and we'll worry about or look into some of these other options that we have. Paint tools. So under the paint tools, if I select my paintbrush, I can just carry on. I can select mirror and can tell it basically mirror on the x-axis, and I can carry on. It'll give me an option. You want to create a new layer, you want to create a new texture, so I'll hit yes. So I can start painting on my model straight away. As you can see, I'm using this alpha channel here. You can create your own alphas, so it doesn't have to be an alpha channel I had selected. You can choose your own alphas, you can create them. You can it's easy enough to Photoshop them, so that's something that you can do. And the other thing that is good practice to do is to usually collect a lot of these brushes. You can find a lot online as well, so people that use them often, they upload them to the libraries. Additionally, you got all these options where you can these are for scattering options as well. So for instance, you can scale it, you can rotate it, you can tell it how much how random you want the actual thing to be. So for instance, if I'm doing this now, and if I put this up, you'll see that each version is much more rotated than before. And again, this is talking about it widthwise and horizontally, how much, and this is scale options. So these are the options you can play around with. That's something that you can experiment in your own time. Again, you get all these options here to draw, but the one that we're going to be looking at for now is the projection option, and along with that, we're going to be looking at the stencils. Basically, your stencils are your textures that you want to paint with. So for instance, if I hit a new layer here and press OK, you can add your own stencils in. So if I hit add stencils, here's my texture library. I can choose whatever textures I want to. So for instance, in this case, I want the one that I've got selected. I've already got one loaded up, so I've got this one loaded up, and I'm gonna go for this one here. So I'm gonna upload these. Just give it a while it uploads. But to start off with, I'm gonna use the front view. So here's my texture, it's appearing right in front of me. So I can scale it down, or I can scale it up. In this case, I'll just leave it the way it is, and I'm gonna reposition my model. Actually, I'll scale the texture up so it's bigger. The scale is 1 right now, so I'm gonna go for 1.4. so that's much better for what I want to do, so I can see my model. Again, you can control the opacity and everything. So we're gonna go into projection, and make sure your projection is selected, the other thing that you have to make sure that you have done is you've selected white color. So now if to make sure if I hit paint, you can see that I'm actually painting through onto my model. So this is a really good interactive way to actually start painting your textures. So just make sure I go up there. I'll get most of the paint job done first, and then I'll go around the model again, making sure get rid of this symmetrical aspects that I've got. So for the nose, I can scale it up a bit more. Again, you can reposition. If you're modeling someone like a celebrity or something, then usually it's good to actually use actual images of the actors or actresses. You end up with a better result. So if I go back to my projection, my brush, I can scale it down. So I'm just going to put it to 0.5 for now, because the other one, no, 0.5. So the other one was too big. So I'm just going to paint this area here again. No. So until I'm much more happier with what the results I'm getting. So let's look at the lips again. This model wasn't really modeled using this example, so it's obviously it's much harder to actually align and texture with it. So just make sure that the hair and the eyes part is right. This is the one of the most important bits to get right, so make sure you do that quite nicely. So actually I liked it better before I moved it down. So let's move that back the way it is. So as you can see, once, oh no, that's wrong. Once you're happy with the roughly what you got, I'm gonna go turn off my symmetry off because it was giving me some problems. Make sure I get the eye right from this side as well, because it was just solely doing it on that side. So yep, so when you're happy with that, about there. Again, this is a good way to make sure that your model is not completely symmetrical. So the bits that you want to fix, especially the eye, this is the good way to do it. Oh, that's too low. Let's go a bit lower than that. Make it a bit bigger. Again, that's much better. So again, the hair will be something that I will look at this point, because I don't want the same bit to be symmetrical. Let's go all the way around, make sure we've got what we want from this side. Make sure the lips as well. So that's pretty much how you would do that. For instance, if I turn my stencil off now, you can see that's what it's done so far for the texturing, and as you can see, it's quite nicely done. It's not the best, but again, for the speed that you did it, that you get to do it in, it's really good. So the other thing, to do the side one, you would just select the side option, and again, it'd be good to actually reposition your texture. So we're gonna rotate it, and we're just gonna rotate it by 10 to begin with. Oh, sorry, minus 10 to begin with. So roughly to till when it's much more so something that you're happy with. Again, the idea for this is to get the bit that you need to texture. So we know our hair is up to there, so this point onwards we want to start using this texture here. Actually, we don't want to do that. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna pretty much do this and paint this on the side as well, but because it's becoming slow, I'm gonna hit the stop button, and I'll see you in the next video.